Hey, everybody, you need to ask yourself, does your camera do this? Are we ready for this? Let's do it. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, this is dedicated to photography and as a photo artist and pushing ourselves to think creatively out of the box. All right, with that out of the way, I need to thank a few people here before we jump into today's topic, and that is, does your camera really do this? And that is, I would like to thank the people that have been buying the different templates that have been offered for ICM for the last, 2-3 weeks. I really appreciate it. It helps support the channel. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put the link in the show notes below. Again, if you have any questions on anything, my private email address is right below here. It's StephenPhotoArtist@gmail.com. I prefer you sending any kind of information that way. You'll get priority versus leaving comments on YouTube. I tend to get there maybe once a week or so, and sometimes once every 2 weeks and that. But I know a lot of people are afraid to leave comments where everybody else could see it, especially if you're new to photography and you're a little bit unsure about certain things. Please feel free to send, any kind of comments or questions you might have. Plus, what would you like to see in the future? I mean, I'm getting a list together of what you people are asking me. Could I do something like this? And I'm going to look at these items and, start picking out I think the most important ones to do first as I go down the list. So again, you got some ideas? Come on, let's share it back to me. Okay, with that out of the way, I also would like to thank, what I'm going to talk about is, I actually did about a 2-hour presentation and speech at a studio. I'd like to thank the owner of the studio, Brad Switzer, for inviting me down to Ann Arbor, Michigan. He is the owner of the Sandbox Studios, and had a blast with a group of photographers over there and covered a lot of information, and also had a really nice time afterwards. I was there about an hour and a half after the presentation, talked to people privately, and you're just going over some issues and questions that they had or didn't understand certain things. But one of the things I did do in the speech and doing some demos was talking about information that I learned from other full-time photographers, and I'm talking people that have been making a living in photography minimum 20 years and more, and it comes from different sources. So I'm going to be the messenger on this about, does your camera do this? I would like to take credit for all this, but nope. It's something I felt for the last 12 to 13 years, but this, again, is coming from people like Joel Grimes, who's a portrait and commercial photographer. He's now retired. He's in his 60s, and he's dedicating most of his time to workshops and guest speaking at different functions. Also, there's Peter Colson from Australia, and the list goes on and on and on. Again, every single one, they were 100% full-time in photography, not doing workshops as a sideline along with photography. I mean 100%, minimum 20 plus years. And we talked about, what does it take to create a really impressive image by your standards? Because everybody's standards a little bit different, because some of us are fairly new to photography, and a lot of us have been around for a while. But some of us that have been around for a while tend to be doing the same old thing for 5, 6, 8 years, and we really haven't been pushing ourselves to, sort of stretch ourselves out and try to get a little bit more creative with our work. So let's go through, and again, I'm the messenger on this, because a lot of times people get all upset when they hear about, I disagree with that. You have the right to disagree with any of this stuff. I don't really care. But this is really something that I have felt for the last few years, and I just sort of consolidated this stuff. So when you use your camera, in fact, let me just grab a camera. Okay, so you got a camera, right? So ask yourself this: does your camera do this?
Your camera doesn't really matter.
And here's what I'm talking about. Let's say that it doesn't matter if you're a wildlife photographer, a landscape photographer, you're doing headshots, you're doing high school senior shoots, family shoots, whatever, photographing children, you're doing studio work with a model or something. It doesn't matter. So let's say that I'm in the studio and I decide that I'm going to set my camera at 100 ISO, 160th of a second at f8. This is going to be my f-stop. The question you have to ask yourself is this, and that is when you're creating that image, let me see if I can get my slides to work here. The settings in your camera, does your camera do this or do you do it? And the answer is no. You have to know how to do that. Your camera doesn't know what you want. You have to figure that out on your own and plug it into the camera. How about this? Which lens do you choose? Does your camera do this? And the answer obviously again is, well, no, it doesn't. You have to choose. How about this? Framing your shot. When you're photographing and framing that shot, does your camera do that? Nope. You have to know how to do that and how to frame it based on your composition and what you're trying to do. How about this one? Lighting. Maybe you're outdoors shooting light. You got to know where the light's coming from. It might be too hard a light. You might be looking for some shade or some place that the sun is bouncing off, say, a white wall. That could help. Or you're using a reflector. If you're indoors, you're using strobes, maybe flashes or whatever. But maybe you're doing one light, two light, three lights. Does your camera know this? And the answer is, well, no, you've got to know that. And if you're moving the lights around based on certain visuals that you want, the camera doesn't know this stuff. You've got to know all that stuff. Okay. And then, are you going to use modifiers on lights? The camera doesn't know that. You have to know that. Are you going to use umbrella, shoot through, reflective, rectangle, different types of modifiers? Again, your camera doesn't do this. You have to know how to do that. And the very last thing is when you're done, when you're going to process the image in whatever software that you use, does your camera do that? And the answer is no. You have to know how to do that. So here's the point I was trying to make with this group of photographers. And also, I've been taught this, and that is, and again, there's a debate on this, but I agree with the final statement I'm going to talk about here. And that is, when you're creating that perfect image for yourself, that you really like this image, say it's an iconic image of yours, how much of that is really based on the camera? A lot of photographers say camera is only about 10% of when you hit that trigger. It's only 10% of all the other stuff that you have to know how to do to come up with that awesome image. Others say it's not 10%, it's 5% the camera has to do with your image. All the rest is all up to you. So whether it's 5 or 10%, I really could care less. I do know this. Most of it is all on you. So I want you to think, the whole purpose of this is to have you basically sit down and think about these things. Where do you spend your time and energy in creating an image? And how well are you at these different areas and making decisions? And this is the difference between, coming up with an okay image versus an awesome image. And it's how good are you at all this? It's all based on your experience. So again, something to think about. This is a short video. I just thought that, I've got a lot of good response on this, and I had a lot of emails that came in from the people that were at the seminar that I gave at Sandbox Studios back in Ann Arbor, Michigan, just a few weeks ago. So again, think about this. And before we end this, again, just a quick reminder, if you're new to the channel, if you can do me a favor, and that is like the channel, subscribe if you have not subscribed, and also hit that notification bell. The next time I upload a video, you will get notified on that. And let's see, anything else? Once again, my email address should be at the very bottom. And again, thanks for everybody that contributed to the channel on buymeacoffee.com/Stephen Photo Artist. Until next time, see ya.